চকাখি आहे চকাখি হে চকাখি आहे चकाखी आहे चकाखी आहे चकाखी आहे चकाखी सुखिलाणी कण्ठ डाकी डाकी सुखिलाणी कण्ठ डाकी डाकी सत कहूची कि मिछ कहूची सत कहूची कि मिछ कहूची बाईसी पहाच तोर साखी आहे चकाखी आहे चकाखी आहे चकाखी आहे चकाखी
Ladies and gentlemen, Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Jagannath.
I am Arunita Prairaj, and I will be taking you through this wonderful evening. On behalf of the Sri Jagannath Global Fraternity, Bahrain Odia Samaj, Odia Society Dubai UAE, I welcome our participants from over 16 countries from around the world. We have participants from Maldives, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Italy, UK, USA, Nigeria, the Bahamas, Nepal, Australia, Japan, Russia, Singapore, Malaysia, and of course, India. So thank you so much for joining us in this wonderful evening. We welcome you to the tradition of Lord Jagannath. It is an interactive session with Gajapati Maharaj Shri Divya Singhadev, as you all must know. He requested me to inform you all that this is his third interactive session on the same topic, and he is looking forward to conducting many more of the same nature. So fingers crossed for that. We'll be commencing the spiritual and insightful evening shortly after Gajapati Maharaj joins us. It is my humble request to all the participants to kindly mute their videos as we await his arrival. I also would like to let you know that we're currently streaming live on Facebook on our Facebook group, which is called Sri Jagannath Global Fraternity. So you can, in case you are having issues with Zoom, you can go onto our Facebook group and watch the live from there as well. Once again, I'd like you to mute yourselves. A humble request. So before Shri Gajapati Maharaj arrives, I'll let you know how this program will run. So first off, we will commence with our organizers addressing the audience, which will then move on with a talk by Gajapati Maharaj on tradition of Lord Jagannath, which I'm sure everybody is excited about. And then we'll be addressing a couple of questions and answers which have been shared, questions which have been shared with us earlier on. So these have been gathered over a period of a week or a week and a half. There was an overwhelming response, so thank you so much for that. So these are the questions that we'll be receiving answers from Gajapati Maharaj. We'll speak more about that when we get to the question and answer session. For now, I'd just like you to stay tuned, and again, humble request to ensure that your microphones are muted so we're not interrupting the session. Request everybody to kindly mute their videos. Karan Gajapati Maharaj Shri Divya Singhadev ama saita achanti ebe.
Hari Om to everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Jai Jagannath.
Jai
Hari
Jagannath.
Om.
Jai
Jai
Jagannath.
Jagannath.
I am sorry to make this late entry because of an internet connectivity issue here in Bhubaneswar. This whole day has been sort of very uncertain, the internet position. Anyway, I'm very happy to see our friends from all around the world. And today is a very sacred day, the commencement of the Sharadiya Navaratra Durga Puja. So on this very sacred day, greetings to everyone. Normally, we have a lot of celebration. It's a time of great fanfare and enjoyment for everyone. But this year, it is different because of the COVID pandemic that is going around the whole world. And India is in the second position behind USA. So it is tough time for everyone. So on this sacred day, we would pray at the feet of Jagat Janani. A lot of people have left us. We pray for their Sadgati. And a lot of people are still struggling with the pandemic. We pray for their speedy and complete recovery. And we also pray that may the Lord bring an end to this scourge sooner than later. So with these words, I would like to congratulate our team who are behind today's interactive session. Actually, this is the third of its kind in the recent time. The first one, I think, was with London organizers. Second was with USA Maryland organizers, and this is the third one. COVID has got its great difficulties and trials and tribulations for everyone, but there is always a silver lining behind the dark clouds, like this opportunity for all of us to get together. And it makes us feel that the world indeed is a global village. Because of COVID, we cannot reach out physically. So we are doing it in this electronic format, which is as close as we can get. And the purpose is served also. So this COVID has facilitated this sort of interaction through the electronic media, which is welcome. Also, for those of us who are introspecting about this very difficult situation which nature has thrown upon us, would be also thinking, where has mankind gone over the last centuries? And this COVID has sort of put a little comma, not a full stop, but a comma, a little slowdown of the pace, a slight break in our progression to make us think, have we been headed in the right direction? At the macrocosmic level and also at the microscopic level in our own lives. Where have we been taking our lives? So those who are the deep thinkers would be thinking about their lives. Where has it gone? Has it moved in the right direction? Do we need to rethink? Do we need to set off in a different direction? So for a lot of people who are real deep thinkers, this has been a time of introspection, because no office, no business as usual, the hectic pace of life, and it has given time to think. I hope you all have made good use of it. So with these words, since we are already very late, I would like to ask Arunita to shoot off the questions. But I'm very happy that this organization called Global Fraternity, I'm hearing the name for the first time, has come together to bring all the devotees of Lord Jagannath around the world onto one forum, one platform. This is most welcome, because Lord Jagannath is the Lord of the whole universe, and so also the Lord of this planet Earth, and therefore of all mankind on this planet Earth. As we all know that the tradition commenced in Purushottam Kshetra Puri through the manifestation of the Lord there. Actually, the Lord has always been there. It is his Nitya Sthana. Beginning in Purushottam Dham Puri, the Lord, true to his name, has gone around the world over the last 50 years, especially 50 or 70 years. And so no, there's no country virtually now where Lord Jagannath is not present, where his devotees are not present. But devotees being present and devotees getting together to install Lord Jagannath, consecrate Lord Jagannath in a temple of Lord Jagannath or in a Hindu temple, these are two different things. Because very often in our faith, in our devotion, we go ahead and install Lord Jagannath. But then the question is, who is this Lord Jagannath? How do we relate to him? How do we seek his grace? This is another story altogether. This sort of distance has to be bridged. Then only we get the benefit of installing Lord Jagannath and worshipping him. So we hope that the organizers will have such interactions with other knowledgeable spiritual personalities who are acquainted with the tradition, culture, and philosophy of Lord Jagannath through such interactive sessions, so that devotees around the world, faith is there, but that faith has to be reinforced with true knowledge, authentic knowledge. Blind faith is no good. But when faith is reinforced with the true knowledge, then it becomes beneficial, and then the grace of the Lord comes. So with these few words, I would like Arunita to take it forward.
Thank you so much, Shri Gajapati Maharaj. Thank you for joining us. We're indeed honored to be blessed with your presence. Thank you for enlightening us on the topic of the tradition of Lord Jagannath. Though you need no introduction, this is a humble attempt at introducing you. I will keep it brief. Gajapati Maharaj Shri Dibya Singha Dev ascended the throne in 1970 at the age of 17 after the demise of his late father, Gajapati Maharaj Biraki Kishore Dev. A lawyer by profession and an alumnus of the Delhi University and the Northwestern University, Chicago, Gajapati Maharaj has spent his early professional years practicing law in Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court of India, a practice he abandoned shortly after a senior colleague expressed discomfort upon Gajapati Maharaj referring to anyone but the Lord as my Lord. As Odias, we are proud to note that the Adya Sevak Shri Gajapati Maharaj is part of a sacred legacy that is connected with the very first manifestation of Lord Jagannath as Chaturdadaru Vigrahas in Shri Purushottam Kshetra, Puri, during the time of legendary Maharaj Indradyumna in the first Manvantara and the founding of the present great temple of Lord Jagannath by Maharaja Chodaganga Dev in the 12th century. Shri Gajapati Maharaj is bestowed with a title so unique that no other erstwhile Indian royalty can make claims on it, that of the Thakura Raja. With a unique title comes unique duties and responsibilities. Some of our earliest memories of the Gajapati are watching him on the television performing Chhera Pohra, the holy ritual of sweeping the area around the sacred throne of the Lord on the Ratha at the commencement of the great annual Ratha Yatra in Puri, one of the most spectacular religious festivals of the world. Shri Gajapati Maharaj is the statutory hereditary chairman of Shri Jagannath Temple Managing Committee, Puri, and thus connected with the administration of Shri Mandira and its activities. As the Adya Sevaka, Gajapati Maharaj is also actively involved over the last 5 decades in spreading the message of Lord Jagannath across the world through various religious and spiritual programs and publications. Shri Gajapati Maharaj, we welcome you to this evening and look forward to your insightful session. Jai Jagannath. With this, I now request Dr. Arun Kumar Pehraj, followed by Dr. Chandrasekhar Khuntia, to speak a few words before we commence.
जय जगन्नाथ नमस्कार पवित्र दुर्गा पूजा अवसर रे आपण समस्त को मोर शारदीय अभिनंदन एवं शुभेच्छा। आज आम गहन रे पूज्य गजपति महाराज साहेब एवं आपण समस्त भक्तवृंद को पाई आमे भारी आनंदित। Welcome to this divine evening with our very respected Gajapati Maharaj Sahib. The sole objective of this webinar and Sri Jagannath Global Fraternity is to unite all the devotees of Mahaprabhu Jagannatha and to spread our beautiful Jagannath culture across the world. My deepest gratitude to respected Gajapati Maharaj Sahib for gracing this occasion, and thanks to all the devotees of Mahaprabhu Jagannatha who have joined this webinar. Thank you. I will not take your much time because we are already running short of time. Over to my brother, Dr. Khuntia. Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath. Happy Navratri, everybody. My pranam to Pujya Sri Gajapati Maharaj and namaskar to all our Odia fraternity from around the world. We heartily welcome you to all to this event tradition of Lord Jagannath and interpretation with Sri Gajapati Maharaj. Today with us, we also have one other guest, prominent guest, Sri Dr. Arvind Padhi, a senior IAS officer of the Odisha cadre of 1996. He has served Odisha in different capacities for almost 20 years or more than 20 years. And also he has served as the chief administrator of Sri Mandira. So I welcome Dr. Padhi also to this session. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Let me just brief you about Sri Jagannatha Global Fraternity, which was formed with the blessings of Mahaprabhu Jagannatha and with the kind guidance of Sri Gajapati Maharaj. It was formed in 2017. This happened during one of our function which was happening in Bahrain. We were celebrating Utkal Divas in 2017 in Bahrain by Bahrain Odia Samaj, and brothers of all the Gulf countries we met together, and Gajapati advised us, when we are all together, when all Odias are together, our binding factor is Lord Jagannath. So why don't you take Lord Jagannath ahead of us and be together and promote Jagannatha culture? So that is how we formed this organization, Sri Jagannatha Global Fraternity, where we are trying to unite Odias and Jagannatha Bhakta from around the world, and we are trying to promote Odia culture and Jagannatha culture together. So that is with the kind advice and blessings of Sri Gajapati Maharaj, and we really convey our sincere gratitude to Sri Gajapati Maharaj for that. I welcome you all with a big heart. I am very, very glad to see you all. We are full, and still members are, sending me messages that please let us in. But unfortunately, we are not able to take because it's completely full now. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And I convey my sincere gratitude to Sri Gajapati Maharaj and Dr. Arvind Padhi. I would like to request Dr. Arvind Padhi, because he was the chief administrator of Sri Jagannath Mandira. So I would like to invite him to speak few words before we start the session with Sri Gajapati Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah, Jai Jagannath. I would pranam Gajapati Maharaj. I would not like to make any rude interruption at this stage. I know we are here to listen to the Gajapati. I'm very blessed that in my official capacity, when I draw my salary from the treasury, I serve the Lord. That's a very great blessing. In fact, once I told the then chief secretary when we were traveling in Puri that, sir, I do not know whether I would become the chief secretary of Government of Odisha or not, but you missed the chance of becoming the chief administrator of the temple, Sri Mandira. So I just quipped him once. So I feel very blessed, and I am very happy to be a part of this very memorable evening. Over to you, Arunita.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Those were very, very inspiring words indeed. May I now request Sri Gajapati Maharaj to please begin his session and enlighten us on the tradition of Lord Jagannath.
I've already passed on the microphone to you, Arunita. You can shoot your questions.
Okay, then we'll start off with the question and answer session. I'm sure everybody is waiting for that. So we shall now move on to the Q&A. Before I begin though, I would like to thank all the participants from around the world. We have over 16 different countries. So thank you for sharing your several interesting questions. Due to time constraints, however, we've merged a couple of questions together. In case your questions remain unanswered during this session, please don't be disheartened, as we will be hosting another interactive session with Sri Gajapati Maharaj soon. As he mentioned earlier, this is interactive session number 3, so fingers crossed for interactive session number 4. For any follow-up questions, it is my humble request that the same are posted in the chat box, and we will try our level best to come back to them at the end of the session if time permits. So how the questions and answers have been segmented are within 4 sections. The first one is Lord Jagannath and Sri Mandira rituals. The first question is, we've all heard childhood stories of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram, but we've never heard childhood stories of Lord Jagannath and his siblings. Why is it so? This question is from Mr. Ramesh Panigrahi, Bahrain.
Good. So let's try to answer that. But before I do that, I'm very happy to see Arvind Padhi here. It's wonderful to see you, Arvind. I think you are in Delhi. So I would like to mention that Arvind was involved with the temple administration, and we worked together during some very crucial moments in the temple's history, which I would not like to narrate at the moment, but some other time. But he was very sincere, very dedicated, and he served the Lord with his complete devotion. So we would like to have Arvind back with us as soon as possible. So maybe as Chief Secretary, as you said. So, okay, now coming to the question. You see, just like, just what I was mentioning, see, we are born from Odia parents, maybe born in Odisha, and therefore devotion to Lord Jagannath is deep, deep within us, in our hearts, in our blood, whatever you may call it. It's in our genes. And in the village that we are born, or in the town that we are born, there'll be definitely a Jagannath temple. Okay? But who is this Lord? What is his legend? What is the scriptural narration of his glory? These things were not known to us. On the other hand, throughout India, you had Bhagavad Kathas, you had Sri Rama Kathas, no? You had all the Kathas, of all the principal deities of our religion. But what about Lord Jagannath? Unfortunately, this was sort of left in a big void. And then what happened, we have seen since a long time, at least over the last 50 years, the Kathakars, the so-called Pravachakas, those who give discourses in villages and towns, they would frame up their own stories about Lord Jagannath, Because there is no scriptural base, they come and say anything and get away with it. So a lot of things started floating around and became popular just because someone has heard it somewhere or read it somewhere. It was only about 30 years back that we had a very well-known Vaishnava saint in Puri, was Baba Chaitanya Charanadas. For the first time in recent times, he started propagating Lord Jagannath as it has been told in the scriptures. In the scriptures, the narration is most elaborately, comprehensively given in the Skanda Purana. In the second part, which is the Vaishnava Khanda, there is a portion called Purushottama Kshetra Mahatmya or Utkala Khanda. It is 60 adhyayas, 60 chapters, and it tells the entire Katha of Lord Jagannath, Sri Purushottama. This was not known, this was not promoted, this was not propagated, neither in Odisha nor outside. So Chaitanya Baba was the first saint in recent times who brought this to light. And through his discourses, people gradually came to know. Now, this has taken a more popular sort of footing because the temple administration has taken it up to propagate the glory of Lord Jagannath through the Skanda Purana. The books have been published. Certain programs have been framed specifically for propagating the glory of Lord Jagannath according to our sacred scriptures. This particular program is called Sri Jagannatha Pancharatra. Some of you are acquainted with it. In India, this has been happening very often throughout Orissa, and in the major cities of India also this has taken place. So right now, the stories of Lord Jagannath, as narrated in the scriptures, are getting around. So hopefully our children will get to know it. But as I said, it is very important that each one of us here should take upon himself, firstly, to acquaint himself or herself with the actual glory of Lord Jagannath, with the philosophy, the tattva of Lord Jagannath as given out in the scriptures. About Sri Krishna, we know from the Srimad Bhagavad Mahapurana. About Lord Rama, we know from the Ramayana. Shiva, Lord Shiva, we know from the Shiva Puranas. Devi, we know from the Markandeya Purana. What about Lord Jagannath? So this was the missing link. Now this has been now hopefully fulfilled. The book is available, and each one here should have that book in his library. English version is out, Hindi version is also there, and Odia version is there. This is a starting point, I would say, but then to know about Lord Jagannath, you have to go deep into Sanatana Dharma, the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma, from Srimad Bhagavata to Srimad Bhagavad Gita to the Ramayana and to the Upanishads, to really know who this Lord is. So hopefully this gap which has been there since earlier times, we will hope to fulfill it, especially through the efforts of our friends here and through organizations like the Global Fraternity that has now been launched. I would say those who around the world are dedicated to promoting and propagating the tradition and culture of Lord Jagannath. It's up to us. No government is not going to do it. So it is people like us, devotees, either individually or through organizations, to first acquaint ourselves with the tradition, philosophy, and culture of Lord Jagannath. We must know who the Lord is before we start promoting him. That's very important. And I would like to add one more thing, since Arunita is still absent, that one is the theory and the other is the practice. Theory without practice is got no value. Our men of wisdom have said, an ounce of practice is worth tons of theory. So what do we mean by theory and practice? Theory is reading the scriptures, understanding it, and understanding it correctly by going to the guru or the acharya through satsang, and then whatever we have heard, whatever we have learned, whatever we have understood, to practice it in our daily lives. One is in our field of activity outside, but before that can happen, it has to bring about a change within us. And that change within us, if we do the practice, which is known as spiritual practice or spiritual sadhana. Without spiritual sadhana, all this theory is just intellectual gymnastics. It is not going to help us at all. It may enable us to give good discourses, but it will not change our life for the better, and it will not change the world for the better. So theory plus practice is equal to positive results. So I would like to again request that, having acquainted ourselves with the real tradition and culture of Lord Jagannath as given out by the scriptures, mind you, that all religions around the world go by the scriptures. The Christians go by the Bible, the Muslims go by the Quran, etc. So we also go by our scriptures from the Vedas down to the Puranas. So we should not have any fancy, whimsical stories which are not founded on the scriptures and on the word of the Guru. So it is up to us to really get immersed in our true spiritual tradition and to mold our character, our personality, and our life accordingly. Then only we will become real pracharaks or propagators, promoters of the tradition and the culture of Lord Jagannath. Otherwise, it can misfire. Otherwise, it can badly misfire. As it is happening in so many places, Lord Jagannath's temple is established, and very soon there is litigation. very soon there is quarrel among the organizers, because ego is playing. So ego means lack of spirituality. Lack of spirituality means lack of practice. Okay. So Arunita, are you available? Yeah. I went off on a tangent.
So the second question has two parts. Part 1, as per Sanatan or Vedic traditions, we usually worship 3 idols as a trinity. The 3 Shakti or goddesses are either separate powers like Lakshmi and Saraswati, or they are worshipped as consorts of gods like Lakshmi Narayan or Sita Ram. In Jagannath culture, we worship sibling relationships in the form of Jagannath, Subhadra, and Balabhadra. What is the philosophy behind this? This question is from Mr. Manoj Meher from Sharjah, UAE. Gajapati Maharaj, would you like me to read the second part out now, or would you rather have it read out after you've answered the first
Let's
part?
finish this.
Yes.
This question is so good and so substantial that if we start off with it, we cannot finish it. And it will consume the whole time, But if I am to put it very briefly, very, very briefly, as I said, we must understand who Lord Jagannath is. Okay? So to understand that, we have to read the scriptures. And when I say the scripture, here I'm basically meaning the Skanda Purana, Purushottama Kshetra Mahatmya. And when we read Skanda Purana, we will see the word Lord Jagannatha is used less, and the term or the name Purushottama is used more. Okay? So, Jagannatha, as we all know very simply in Hindi or in Odia or in Sanskrit, Jagataranatha, the Natha, the Lord of the entire universe, not only this planet Earth. But to know what is meant by Purushottama, we have to study the 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And when we do that, it becomes clear that Purushottama Sri Jagannath is the Supreme Lord. He is not an avatara. He is not an aspect of God, but he is the totality. So let us say you put all the gods and goddesses of Sanatana Dharma or worshipped by the Hindus, along with all the gods and goddesses worshipped by all the religions around the world, including the very tribal communities, whatever you. Put all the gods and goddesses, all forms of worship together, and that becomes the Supreme Lord. Because the truth is one, the Lord is one, manifestations can be infinite, manifestations can be many, names and forms can be many, but the essence, the tattva is one. So Lord Jagannath is actually one. Now, if you again look into the Skanda Purana, you will see, of course, when Lord Jagannath manifested in this form, before that he was present in Nilachala Dham, in Niladri, in the Nila Parvata, as Madhava, along with Mahalakshmi and Shesha Ananta, that is Ananta Vasudev, Lord Balabhadra, Garuda and Sudarshana. But in Tattva, he is one. All of them come together as one. Therefore, when the Lord again re-manifested as Chaturdha Dharu Vigrahas, he did not manifest in 4 different shapes, mind you. He manifested as one divine tree. When Devrishi Narada and Maharaja Indradumna go to the sea, when they are informed that a huge something looking like a tree is floating on the ocean, they see not 3 trees, not 4 trees, but 1 tree. And out of that 1 tree, the divine carpenter, who was none other than the Lord himself, carves out the 4 images. So the 4 images are carved out of 1 substance. So in Tattva, they are one. But you know what? We are not one. Each of us is a different mind. Even if I have a twin brother, he will have a different mind. No 2 minds are the same. Therefore, each mind has got its own likes, dislikes, inclinations, and prejudices, and also its own stage of spiritual evolution as the Jivatma. We may be born of the same parents, but our spiritual journey is distinct and independent. Therefore, I have a complete right and choice of relating to my Lord as I would like to, because it is coming from my previous births and also from naturally my immediate home circumstance. So in Sanatana Dharma, we say that the Lord can be worshipped in infinite ways, infinite forms, in infinite manners, no problem. But in essence, they are one. So when we see our Sanatana Dharma, we see that principally there are three major sampradayas which are popular. One is the Vaishnava Sampradaya, the other is the Saiva Sampradaya, the third is the Shakta Sampradaya, the Devi Sampradaya. So normally we understand, so the Lord has manifested in these three forms to actually fulfill the aspirations of everyone, every human being, but also to fulfill the aspirations of the three major sampradayas known to Sanatana Vedic Dharma. So Lord Jagannatha is worshipped or seen related to in the Vaishnava tradition, Lord Balabhadra in the Shaiva tradition, and Devi Subhadra in the Shakta tradition. So in Devi Subhadra, you can see Saraswati, you can see Mahalakshmi, you can see Durga, you can see Kali, okay, etc. In Lord Jagannath, you can see Krishna, you can see Vasudeva, you can see Lord Rama, the entire Vaishnava. And they all, when they all come together, including Sudarshana, they become one Jagannath. Okay? So when they become one Jagannath, they become the Supreme Lord. So in even apart from the tradition of Lord Jagannath, we have the Trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Okay? So it's the same one Supreme Lord performing three different functions. Just like in one government of India, you have so many different departments for performing different functions. So also in the spiritual world, you have the one Supreme Lord performing everything that's happening, from the rain to the fire, to the water, to the movement of the planets, to the functioning of our heart. Everything is possible through the grace of the one Supreme Lord, but the one Supreme Lord makes everything possible. So when different functions are happening, we worship him in different ways, as Agni Devata or as Vayu Devata, etc., and as Lord Shiva or as Shakti Devi. So essence is this, that here the Lord is in a sense the Supreme Lord, Paramatma Parameshwara. He is not an avatara. He is Parameshwara, Paramatma, Parambrahma, referred to in the scriptures. So this is the greatness of Purushottam Dham and Lord Jagannatha. They're essentially one, but they have appeared in this fourfold form so that we can relate to him. So you see, sometime back, a few centuries back, let us say in 15th, 16th century, there was even in our Sanatana Vedic Dharma, which is a very universal tradition and philosophy, there was kind of conflict between the Vaishnava and the Saiva, for instance. Vishnu Bhakta will not have Shiva Prasada, and the Shiva Bhakta will not go to a Vishnu temple, and so on and so forth. But here Lord Jagannath brings everyone together. So what do we see? That throughout history, all the acharyas of the different sampradayas, they may be worshipping Lord Shiva, they may be worshipping Lord Vishnu, they may be worshipping Devi or Ganesha, but they all come to Lord Jagannath and accept him as their Lord. They may belong to the Advaita Sampradaya or Vishishta Dvaita or Dvaita, whatever. They all accept Lord Jagannath as their Supreme Lord. This is the uniqueness and the real glory of Lord Jagannath. And this is what is to be understood by all of us. That here you have a Lord who is really a Supreme Lord. He's everyone put together. Okay. So I think we can go to the next question. Where is Arunita disappeared?
Thank you, Gajapati. No, I'm here. I'm here. I muted myself. So that was indeed a wonderful explanation about the three lords and the different forms that they take according to our wish and how we wish to see them. The second part of this question is, how are Lord Jagannath and Sanatan Dharma connected? This has been asked by Mr. Debashish Srichandan from Italy.
Very good question again, because we are very often confused by names and terms and languages, you know. because the same thing is told to us in different languages using different terms, so we get confused. So as I said, when we want to know about Lord Jagannath, we have to read Skanda Purana. There's some disturbance coming in the audio. Arunita, can you control that? Arunita, can you mute everyone else? There's some disturbance, Arunita. Can you mute everyone? Okay, good. So, Sanatana, what is Sanatana? Sanatana is that which is eternal. That is which is beyond the 3 periods of time, Sanatana. What is Jagannatha? That again, which is Sanatana. Jagannath, as we just mentioned, is the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is Sanatana. That is another name for the Supreme Lord. So there is no difference in any manner between Sanatana and Jagannatha. And as I said, if we want to know about Lord Jagannath, what do we have to do? Where do you have to go? You have to go to Skanda Purana. And Skanda Purana is one of the greatest scriptures of Sanatana Vaidika Dharma, compiled by Maharishi Vedavyasa. In fact, it is the largest scripture the world has ever seen. All the scriptures of Sanatana Vedic Dharma, if you put the shlokas together, it will be about 4 lakhs. Now, Skanda Purana itself has about 1 lakh shlokas, means 1/4 of Sanatana Vedic Dharma scriptures is contained in the Skanda Purana. And for Lord Jagannath's glory, you have to go to Skanda Purana, which is Sanatana Vedic Dharma. And as I said, that itself won't do to really understand who this Lord is and how I can seek his grace. You have to study the Gita. You have to live the Gita. You have to study the Upanishads. You have to study the Bhagavata. You have to study the Ramayana, etc. So it's a package deal, you see. You cannot take anything in isolation. And I would like to say you, as I said, Sanatana Dharma or the tradition or the Dharma of Lord Jagannath, they are all inclusive. They are universal. They are not exclusive. They're all inclusive. Everything is taken in. Okay, so there is no difference. Absolutely none. As I said, if you put all the gods and goddesses together, they are Lord Jagannath. Okay, put all the gods and God, Tetis Koti Devata, Devi of Sanatana Vedic Dharma, you put them together, it's Lord Jagannath. As simple as that. And I am free to worship him as Lord Shiva, if it's that in my tradition. I'm free to worship him as Lord Ganesha, if that is in my tradition. You have heard the story of how Lord Jagannath takes this Gajanana Vesha during a Snana Yatra. So Lord Jagannath is worshipped in any way that the devotee chooses. It's for the devotee to relate to him in any way he chooses. This is the greatness of the Lord.
Thank you so much for the answer. The third question is, when I look at the Chaturdha Murti, I have noticed Lord Jagannath has Chaka eyes or Chaka Noyana. But Ma Subhadra and Prabhu Balabhadra have beautiful almond-shaped eyes. Why is it so? Secondly, Lord Hanuman is an essential part of Lord Ram's journey. Do Lord Jagannath and Lord Hanuman also share a similar relationship? This is from Mr. Arun Kumar Prairaj, Bahrain.
When you mix up the 2 questions, I sometimes forget the first one, but I'll try to remember it.
Do you want me to repeat the first one?
No, I will try to remember it.
But I can repeat the second one if you want me to.
Repeat the first one, please.
Okay. The first one is, when I look at the Chaturdha Murti, I have noticed Lord Jagannath has Chaka eyes or Chaka Noyana.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. You see, the Lords have appeared in a manner which baffles us. You see Lord Krishna, you can relate to him physiologically like a human being, so we are acquainted. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, all right, they have some extra faces, but they've got faces which are resembling something we know, okay? Something we can explain. But what about this Lord Jagannath? Totally baffles us. It is something beyond any conception of the human mind, okay? So it makes our imaginations run wild, so to say. Idea is you have to break away from your preconceived mental notions, intellectual notions. You have to go beyond it. You see, so as you know, there are two basic approaches to worshipping the Lord, the Supreme Lord. One is called Sakara Saguna Upasana. The other is Nirakara Nirguna Upasana. So depending upon our spiritual journey of me as the Jivatma, depending upon my spiritual attainment, I would like to worship, I would like to understand, and I would like to believe, have faith that my Lord has a form. He cannot be without a form. So you worship Lord with a form, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Lord Shiva. But then there are others who in their spiritual journey have reached a point when they know that the Lord is omnipresent. If the Lord is omnipresent, he cannot be confined to a form. So they would like to worship Lord as present everywhere throughout the universe, as the substratum, as the foundation of the universe, of this world of matter. So they would like to worship Lord as Nirakara Nirguna, as the basis for all Rupa and Nama, as the basis for all Saguna manifestation, but he himself remaining forever, eternally, as Nirakara and Nirguna. So these are the two major streams of our philosophical thinking. Now in Lord Jagannath, you have both. You have a form, yet what form is it? You ask 10 persons and each one will give their own understanding and their own answer. That's the beauty of your Lord. He has a form, yet he is beyond all forms. Now you ask why it happened. Why is Lord Balabhadra, Subhadra's eyes squinted like that, like Japanese and Chinese? And why Lord Jagannath is round? No one has round eye. Maybe the penguins have or something. So how do you explain that? So here again, let us go back to the story. Let us go back to the story. Who made it? Did you make it? Did I make it? Did Maharaja Indradumna make it? No. Who made it? This story says that one old person came saying that he is a Maharana, a carpenter. And since all the skilled and the great master craftsmen of the empire had failed to do anything, and this person requests, the king allows him, because the king has been told through a divine voice that this is going to happen. The old person will come and you allow him. So this old person is allowed into the job, but he has a condition that the chamber has to be closed and I'm not to be disturbed till my job is done. So this old person goes in and does something. And of course, after the 15th day, the king gets impatient and the chamber is opened up and they find the lords as they are. So who did it? Did Maharaja Indradumna do it? Did any human agency do it? No, the Lord himself. So why squinted eye, why round eye? You have to go to the Lord to ask him that. Okay. But we have to basically understand that it's totally up to us to relate to the Lord in the way we would like to. And idea is to go from the form to the tattva behind the form. The form is a medium. You have to go to the essence, the spiritual essence behind the form. So don't get caught up, the round eyes is round, the eyes is squinted. Don't get caught up in this, but they do have significance. If you would like to give a significance to it, there could be a significance. For instance, round eyes could mean almost without any eyebrows, the chokka akhi sabu dekhuchi. Means he's always watching, everywhere watching. You cannot fool him. So it's up to you to give different interpretations, but know that he is this form, he is also all forms, he is also beyond all forms. So the two basic forms of our philosophical tradition of Nirguna, Nirakara, and Saguna Sakara have been merged in the worship of Lord Jagannath.
Wonderful answer.
Ah,
The
sir,
second part of
Hanumanji,
Oh.
Hanumanji. Okay, so let me
Yes.
tell you, as I said, Lord Jagannath and the Chaturdha Vigrahas are the sum total of all the gods and goddesses. So we have Krishna Janma celebrated now, that has been done this year. So we also have Ram Navami celebrated, no? We also celebrate Ram Navami and all the festivals of Lord Rama, many festivals, including Ram Navami. And what happens in Ram Navami, if you have seen the paintings, you would understand that we have the Ram Darbar on the Ratna Singhasana. We have the entire Ram Darbar on Lord Jagannath's Ratna Singhasana in Puri Sri Mandira. So you have Lord Hanuman also sitting there. You have Bibhishana also there. You have Ram, Lakshman, Sita, and the entire Ram Darbar there. So Lord Hanuman is very much a part of the entire tradition of Lord Jagannath. Everything associated with Lord Krishna is there. Everything associated with Lord Rama is there. Everything associated with Lord Shiva is there. Everything associated with Devi is there right now. The Sola Puja is going on, and actually because of the Madamas, it is now 45 days of Devi Puja worship that has been going on in Jagannath Temple. 45 days because of the extra month in this month. Normally it is 16 days, this time it is 45 days. So in Bimala Devi and the other Devi Pithas in Jagannath Temple, the worship is going on. And Lord Jagannath also is worshipped as Dakshina Kali. He also is worshipped as Devi. So as I said, all gods and goddesses, along with their retinue of their special devotees like Hanumanji, everything is associated and involved with the tradition of Lord Jagannath.
Thank you, Gajapati Maharaj. The fourth question is about Bhoga, and I have to say that this was the most recurring question in all of the questions, so it's very important. Part one of this question is, Khei Kona, Bhandara Vyutpatti Gata Artha Kona, Jagannathankara Kete Bale Bhanda Bhoga Hue. This is from Dr. Radharani Mahapatra from Bhadra.
Can you translate the first part in English so that everyone can understand?
What is Khei? And Bhandara Vyutpatti Gata Artha Kona, Jagannathankara Kete Bale Bhanda Bhoga Hue.
What's the first word you use? I could not
understand. What is Khei?
What is?
Khei. Khei. Khei.
Okay, let us understand that. We are also running out of time. Khei is a typical terminology of Sri Mandira. I do not know, maybe it's also prevalent in the other temples of Odisha, but in Jagannath Temple, it has got a very significant meaning. It is the offering made to the Lord, which is known as Raja Bhoga. Raja Bhoga is what is offered on behalf of the entire mankind, entire world community by the temple administration in the sanctum sanctorum of Lord Jagannath. This is called Raj Bhoga. This is offered. It is on every day as a matter. It's a fixed item. Fixed items are offered every day by the temple administration from the temple funds on behalf of the entire world community. And on special festive occasions, there are special items which are added, of course. And then after the offering is made, it is distributed among the sevakas of Lord Jagannath, including me. I get lion's share, of course. This is known as Khei. What is offered as Raj Bhoga and distributed to all the sevakas on a daily basis. As distinct from this, we have another bhoga called Boradi Bhoga. which is what devotees like you, when you go to Puri, you engage a cook who's known as Swara or Supakara to, you give him the money and he makes that offering on your, for you before the Lord, and then you take it. Or you go to the Ananda Bajara in the temple and you purchase it from there. That is called Baradi Bhoga. Now this is not from the temple funds, and this quantity sort of fluctuates on a daily basis depending upon the order. So we've got Baradi Bhoga, we've got Raj Bhoga, which is Khei, and we have got Baradi Bhoga, which is the Bhoga which you all, when you go, you make the order and therefore you purchase it. So that's a fluctuating amount every day depending upon the demand and the order placed. Now the Khei again, or the Raj Bhoga, is what is offered in the a particular ritual called Dhupa, coming to the second part of the question. So we have mainly 5 major offerings to the Lord, beginning with the morning offering, which is known as Gopala Ballabha Bhoga. This is like an early morning tea time thing, tea time offering to the Lord. Then we have Sakala Dhupa, which is like breakfast. Then we have Madhyana Dhupa, which is the midday meal. And we have Saun Dhupa, which is like the evening snack. And then we have Bodasingara Dhupa, which is the nighttime meal of the Lord. So 5 times in a day, we have the major offerings to the Lord. First, this Kotho Bhoga offering is made. This Khei or the Raj Bhoga is also called Kotho Bhoga. Kotho means community. As I said, it's on behalf of the world community. So no individual is doing it. The temple administration is giving the money for on behalf of the world community. That's why it's called Kotho Bhoga. Also it's called Raj Bhoga. So this is offered in the Sanctum Sanctorum. After this offering is made, then the Baradi Bhoga, which you all offer, is done in another chamber, which is called as the Bhoga Mandapa, which is a little removed from the Sanctum Sanctorum. It is after the Garuda Stamba, the chamber. So about 100 feet or so from the throne, this offering is made. So this offering, major offering of Baradi Bhoga is generally done once a day or even twice a day, depending upon the orders and the season. If it's a festive season, then 2 or even 3 Baradi Bhoga. It's called Bhanda. In short, it's called Bhanda Bhoga. As Baradi Bhoga, it's called on behalf of the public. So we have 5 major offerings, which is done ritually on behalf of the entire world community before the Lord in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and these are all called dhupas. Now again, why the word dhupa? We have to ask the scholars. But if we would like to look at it from a common sense point of view, what does dhupa mean? Agarbatti ka dhup hota hai na? Dhupa means something, some fragrance coming out, something subtle coming out. So what does it mean? What the Lord is taking in is not the physical, the gross part. He's taking the subtle part. And what is the subtle part the Lord takes is the devotion, the bhakti behind it. The bhakti behind the offering, as it in the Gita also it is said, you may offer water or just a leaf or a flower. That is a medium. But what actually you are conveying to the Lord through that medium is your devotion. Just like you take a spoon of rice, you don't eat the spoon, you eat the rice. The spoon is the medium. So the Lord accepts the devotion which you are conveying to the Lord. So anyway, this is one interpretation of the word dhupa. So this is, you see, let me just tell you very briefly. He is Jagataranatha. So therefore, he is also the emperor. He is the controller of the entire universe. Through his grace, the planets move. Through his grace, our hearts beat and we are alive, okay? So he is the supreme emperor. So here in Jagannath Puri and Sri Mandira, actually Lord himself instructed Maharaja Indradyumna, as it is clearly made clear in the Skanda Purana, after Lord Brahma installed Lord Chaturdha Daru Vigrahas in Sri Mandira, and Lord Jagan and Indradumna prayed to Lord Jagannath seeking his grace, Lord himself instructed that you will do these things for me. These are the rituals you will follow, do, comply on a daily basis. These are the festivals you will perform around the year. So Lord gave his own menu, his own agenda. So these prescriptions are given out by the Lord himself. And they are, well, let me tell you, very punctually, not punctually now, but very faithfully followed over the centuries in the Jagannath temple of Puri. So there's a lot of sanctity attached to it. I think that's enough, Arun.
Yes, I think so. The second part of the question is about Chappan Bhogos. So before I go on to that, I'd like to ask, do all of these 5 Bhogos then constitute the Chappan Bhogo, or?
A good question. You know, I have to ask that to the Swara myself.
In that case, I'll ask
if you put all of them together, there are 56 kinds of items which are offered to the Lord.
Okay. So the part 2 of the question, you may answer the ones that haven't been answered yet. I'll go ahead and ask it anyway. It is said that the Jagannath temple Bhogo is prepared by Mahalakshmi herself. Is this true? If so, how? This question is from Mrs. Sunita, Dr. Anjali Das, and Mr. Hara Das from Orissa.
Let me tell you, religion is a matter of faith. If you have faith, then he is God. If you don't have faith, then he is just an object of matter. So everything that is in our religion is a matter of faith. So here also the belief that, you see, after all, Lord Jagannath on this planet Earth, this Purushottam Dham is his eternal abode. Okay, this is made clear in the Skanda Purana and also in the Brahma Purana. But in the universe, it is Vaikuntha Dham. Okay, in Vaikuntha, he's in Vaikuntha Dham, in his supreme abode. So there, as we understand from the scriptures, Mahalakshmi is with him. Okay, so if he has to eat something, I don't know if there's any cooking going on there in Vaikuntha Dham. I do not know if any material food is required for them to sustain, which I seriously doubt. But Mahalakshmi is there. So obviously, if anyone has to do anything for the Lord, it has to be Mahalakshmi. So it is natural for us to believe that anything that is done, if the food is being made here, we have to mentally, intellectually, and through devotion feel that the offering is being made by Mahalakshmi. Because the offering is made to the Supreme Lord. The Swara who's done it, or you go and make the payment, you are all mediums. But the real offering is done by the lady of the house, that is Mahalakshmi. That is it's a matter of faith. Everything is based on faith. And the grace will come when faith is there. When there is no faith, there will be no grace.
Thank you, Gajapati Maharaj. We have a humble request from the audience. Could you please extend the session for 30 minutes?
You mean till how much
20
time?
minutes, 20 more minutes.
I'm fine, but what about our participants? Because they're all busy people.
I'm sure the participants are equally excited. The request has come from the participants. So
how much time do you think we can all
20 to 30 more minutes. Would that be all right?
You ask the participants.
It is acceptable. It is our privilege. I am in Australia and it is morning 1 o'clock 50 minutes now, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's good for us. We will wait.
Yeah, we love to listen to you, Gajapati Maharaj. We're all fine. We're all fine.
Okay, so we can go for, right now it's Indian time 8:20. So let us do it half an hour from now. We close at 8:45. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Yeah, Gajapati Maharaj, is acceptable.
Yes. But you see, we can have another session very shortly. There's no problem. Okay.
Yes.
So we close at 8:45.
All right. Thank you so much, Gajapati Maharaj. So we're on segment 2 now, which is about the Jagannath temple and its rituals. So the first question within this segment is, could we please be enlightened about the Devdasi tradition of the Jagannath temple Puri? This tradition gradually saw its decline. Who were behind its reforms? This question is from Mr. Sangram K. Patnaik from Nigeria, and a similar question was asked by Mrs. Sonalika Dash, who is an Odissi dancer.
Okay, good question again. To start from the ending, this tradition, as was practiced in centuries earlier, is now no longer existing. It has come to an end because of the changing socio-economic political conditions. What was possible during monarchical days, during the past centuries, is no longer possible now. But to go to the genesis of it, one thing we have to understand that, as I said, Lord Jagannath is seen also as the Supreme Lord and therefore the Emperor. So when he was installed by Lord Brahma, Lord Jagannath himself told Indradyumna that for me you have to do these rituals and these festivals. So it became clear that just like in the court of the king, let us say the Supreme Emperor of France or of any England, let us say, you have a lot of protocols, you know. The bigger the emperor, the more the protocols, and the more the establishment, and the more the services. So at least with the construction of this temple, which is in recent time, 800 years is a recent time in the history of Lord Jagannath, we know that this Chhattisani Jaga was set up by Maharaja Ananyabhumadeva in a very elaborate manner to fulfill the directions of Lord Jagannath in the Skanda Purana. So various categories of sevaks were laid down and recruited and created. And in there, we also had the ladies given a role. The ladies were given two important roles. One is called Gayani Seva, another is called Nachuni Seva. Gayani Seva, they would sing Gita Govinda of Jayadeva at bedtime before the Lords to put him to sleep. This is called Gayani Seva. Again, by the Devdasis, the real name is Mahari. And there were others who dance before the Lord at bedtime in the Nata Mandapa, which is where the Garuda Stamba is. So that is Nachuni Seva. And both these Sevas were given to the ladies because if you go into the Sevak system, you'll find that every category from the highest Brahmins to different categories of the caste system, everyone was incorporated in the Seva of Lord Jagannath. No category, no part of the society was excluded. Even the Sabaras, you know, they were given the very privileged and exclusive rights during, as you know, the Anasara and the Rath Yatra and the Stan Yatra. So no category of the society then known was excluded from the Seva of Lord Jagannath. So why should women be excluded? So they were given a very important daily ritual to perform before the Lord Jagannath, which Lord Jagannath liked very much. There is a inscription in the temple very close to the Sanctum Sanctorum, I think of Maharaja Kapilendra Dev or maybe earlier, which says that this Seva is not to be stopped. Anyone who stops this Seva would be guilty of committing Vidroha against Lord. Okay. So this was happening, and these two Sevas together were known as the Sampradaya Nijoga. The entire Seva system of Lord Jagannath is divided into various associations, and they are clubbed together into what is known as 36 associations. Association means in Odia we call it Nijoga. 36 Nijogas, but actually these 36 Nijogas are further subdivided and divided, and right now we have about 120 of them. But unfortunately, the Samprada Nijoga, where the ladies were involved, that sort of went out of actual practice. Because what was this about? This was about young girls being totally dedicated to Lord, remaining unmarried under the tutelage of their lady guru, who is an experienced Mahari, who would teach her to sing and teach her to dance, and she had nothing else to do but that. And there was enough money. There's a whole lane in Puri which was dedicated to these ladies. They had very privileged position, and the top ministers of the state were told to look after them, to see that they're well looked after and well protected. This was, let us say, in the 12th century, 13th century, 14th century, and they were very privileged. But with time, this could not be sustained. When there is, when the decadence in the society, when the cultural level comes down, these things, become difficult to sustain and maintain. So gradually, this fell into disuse. And now, how do you think that a girl will remain unmarried, dedicated to the Lord, and there'll be someone taking care of us? Where is the fund? Who will take care? The security and her, the life that she will lead. So those days, it was totally different. It was the Vedic culture which was operating there, and they were highly respected and revered. It's not possible now. So it has gone out of our present system. So Devdasi or the Mahari system. However, the legacy of this great tradition continues in the form of Odissi dance. Odissi dance has its genesis in the Mahari tradition of Sri Mandira.
Thank you so much, Gajapati Maharaj. That was indeed very interesting and detailed. Moving on to the next one. Gajapati Maharaj has taken an active role in Sri Jagannath Pratishtha around the world. Is he considering the establishment of an executive board to bring all these temple operations together? This question is from Mr. Surya Rath, who is a professor in English from Dallas.
Yes, Professor Ratha looked after us so nicely just before COVID began. In fact, in Dallas, actually in Fresco, was the last program we had in towards the end of last year. And we had to run out of USA because COVID was taking grip of USA, and we had to cancel the remaining programs in Florida. So Fresco Temple Pratishtha, where Surya Ratha was spearheading, was the last program we could do. And they're doing a great job there, of course. So the question is about having some sort of consistency, uniformity in the temples around the world. Now, this is something which is very, very important. In our Jagannath Temple, Puri, I think Arvind Padhi was there. We have one of our subcommittees which is focused on this particular issue. It's called Sri Jagannath Tattva Gaveshana Prachar Prasar Samiti, Upasamiti, of which I am heading, of course, of the temple administration. And one of the programs which this committee came up with was called Aikya Sthapana. That is to bring about uniformity in the rituals, in the worship, and in the tradition of all Jagannath temples in Odisha, throughout India, and across the world. I would like this to be taken forward. Now, the temple administration has got its own priorities. It's caught up with the daily rituals and the festivals of Lord Jagannath, which is a full-time job, really. So the temple administration has done a little bit of work some time back on this aspect, but it could not really do it in a very large manner. So like the Global Fraternity is there and a number of other organizations there, I would certainly recommend that you all get together, join hands. You can maintain your own institutional identity, not an issue, and then work out how we can all come together in ensuring that the proper worship of Lord is possible in all Jagannath temples around the world. The proper festivals are celebrated. Because let me tell you what is happening is this. Let us take America, for instance. We have the Odia community who are doing great out there, but they are in a minority because compared to other communities, their numbers are small. So what you have the major community in that locality putting up a temple. It's called a Hindu temple. So if it is the southern community, you will have Lord Venkateshwara. If it is the northern community, you will have Lord Rama at the center. And if you're Maharashtra community, you'll have Lord Ganesha in the center, and all the gods and goddesses in the other sections of the temple, depending upon the communities who are there. So Lord Jagannath comes in subsequently in his own niche, in his own little place in the temple. But then what happens? Let us say it's a South Indian temple with Lord Venkateshwara there as the presiding deity. You have the pujakas from South India who are great, who are fantastic Vedic pujakas, but they do not know the worship of Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath's worship is distinct, number one. Number two, when you talk of the worship of Lord Shiva or Lord Rama or Lord Ganesha or Devi Durga or Lord Krishna, they're nationally known. So you have pujakas who are more or less acquainted with these traditions and these forms of worship. But Lord Jagannath's worship is distinct and it's not known to them. So as a result, what happens, although Lord Jagannath is installed around the world, the offerings to Lord Jagannath are not being done because it's practically not been possible, because who's there to do it? So very often you have our devotees themselves doing it. I was just now seeing Professor Alek Das in the screen. He is a wonderful volunteer who is doing exactly that. There's no one else to do it, so he's doing it himself since the installation. So I was just mentioning that this is a wonderful opportunity with forums like this. I would like the world community of Lord Jagannath to come together, particularly the organizations who are working in the field, to link hands. You see, the Lord is one and He's our Lord. So there is every reason that we must all come together, join hands. We can and should, for convenience sake, maintain our own individual, separate organizational identities and existence, no problem. But we can work hand in hand. We can join hands to sort out these issues of helping and supporting all Jagannath temples around the world in bringing about a consistency, uniformity of worship and celebrations in conformity with the Jagannath tradition. There are some books which have been published by the Jagannath Temple Puri administration and by some other well-known organizations in Puri, which can be circulated. I have already passed it on to some of you. And of course, that is in Odia. I would request one of you to translate it into English, into Hindi. And then we are here to give you all the support you need. There are experts in the various fields, in the field of puja, in the field of pratishtha, in the field of temple construction, in the field of pravachan. So as you know, we have got very nice people here. I can put you on to them, and we are here to support you fully. But my request is this: please do everything in conformity with the authentic tradition of Lord Jagannath. And we are here to help you.
Thank you, Gajapati Maharaj. We shall now move on to Gajapati Traditions, which is the third segment. This is going to be our last question. I can see that you're looking at the time. Could we please be enlightened about the Sunya festival conducted on a yearly basis at the Sri Nahar? This is from Dr. Chandrasekhar Khuntia from Dubai, UAE.
Okay. So there are some festivals which are being celebrated in Srinahara. Some of them are related or connected with, associated with the worship of Lord Jagannath in Sri Mandira, connected with the worship and festivals of Sri Mandira, which is there in our record of rites. But there are some other festivals which are independently celebrated in the palace of Gajapati Maharaja, which is known as Srinahara, which is to do with the royal tradition, which actually is also celebrated in other royal houses also, is a part of the monarchical tradition. So in this the Sunya is one of the major ones. Here Sunya comes from the word Suna or Suvarna, which means gold. Why gold? Because this tithi marks the commencement of the regnal year of the Gajapati, the kings of Utkal kingdom over the centuries. The regnal year commences on that tithi, and on the commencement of the regnal year is also the commencement of the financial year of the Gajapati kingdom and the issue of the new coins, the currencies issued. So this is done through a festival called Sunya, which is held in Srinagar in the palace of the Gajapati. And the Gajapati sits on the throne, and after the initial worship, the new coins which are minted for the kingdom are first offered to the Lord. The first coins are offerings to all the gods and goddesses. And then the minting work starts for minting for the kingdom throughout for the requirement for the entire year. So because those days the main coin, the most precious coin was the gold coin. So Sunya name was given to this. And this is how all these things are now of history, but symbolically we celebrate it still. And it is one of the major festivals which we celebrated, I think, in August of this year. The date is according to our Indian lunar calendar. So Sunya is a festival which is celebrated now. The other festival, of course, is Pushya Abhiseka. This is Abhisheka done to commemorate the Abhisheka of Lord Rama in Ayodhya after his victorious return from Sri Lanka. So on the same tithi, actually, I think all the Mohantas also and other royalties also, they celebrate this Abhishek of Lord Rama by their own Abhishek and by getting the blessings of the priests. So Pushya Abhishek, which is done in the month of January, is another major festival. Dashera is another major festival. These are festivals of the palace.
Thank you so much, Gajapati Maharaj. Since we only have 5 minutes left, I'd like to move on to the vote of thanks. As this divine evening comes to an end, we would like to thank our Mahaprabhu for showering his blessings upon us. We extend our heartfelt gratitude towards Gajapati Maharaj Sri Divya Singha Dev for enlightening us on the Mahaprabhu and his traditions this evening and for joining us despite the interruptions. We're extremely grateful for your presence, guidance, and support. I would also like to thank all our enthusiastic participants from around the world, without whom this event would be incomplete. Even those who joined us despite the odd timings, especially Australia, thank you so much for joining us. Last but not the least, I thank Mrs. Chandana Das for her technical and creative support. Sri Jagannath Global Fraternity, Bahrain Odia Samaj, and Odia Society of Dubai, UAE would like to bid farewell with a Shanti Path. Jai Jagannath.
Om Dyav Shantirantarikshagun Shanti Prithvi Shantirapaha Shantiroshadhayah Shanti Vanaspatayah Shantirvishve Devaha Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvagwang Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti